This is a story about when I was an undergraduate student in psychology in Dublin. As part of my education, I was sent off to do an assessment of a young guy who was in a local mental institution. He hadn't been there very long, and I cannot for the life of me remember why he was there, but there was something involved about a minor misdemeanor. So I was sent off to assess him with a battery of tests. And I went, met him, and I said, look, sorry about this, but I'm going to have to do these tests with you because, to be honest, I wasn't so crazy about tests and I'm not so sure about their usefulness in all contexts. But he was very cooperative. He said, okay, let's do it. So we did the first test, got that over with, and I said, there's another one here. And he said, no problem, let's do that one too. So we did that. And we chatted a bit, and then he showed me where his bed was in the ward, and he showed me where his locker was next to the bed, and he talked a little bit about how it was to be in that psychiatric institution. He hadn't been there very long. So then he offered me a cup of tea, and we had a cup of tea, and we chatted, and I left. Now, I was supposed to be bringing my assessment of him in to a case conference later that week. Two others had been to assess him, one from a background of being a social work student, and the other one was a medical student. We were all supposed to bring in our assessments in the case conference. So the other two were first. The three of us giving our presentations, I was the last. So they started talking about how they had experienced him, and they said they found him really uncooperative and antisocial. And I was quite stunned because I thought, were we actually talking to the same person? So I brought in my experience of him, that I had found him really cooperative, that I thought that possibly he could be helped by some support in dealing with some emotions or feelings that he had about his background, and particularly about his father, and that might be useful to him in making sure he didn't get involved in criminal activity further down the line. So that was the end of the conference. I can't remember much more about what happened there, but what stayed with me was my surprise at the difference in our perceptions of the same person. And it really made clear to me that we are viewing other people all the time through the lens of our perceptions, our belief systems, our conditioning. And I was asking myself, how much do we ever really see another person? This whole experience made me quite reluctant to consider working in a psychiatric institution. Although in fact I did go on to work in one later for 2 years, and that was enough of that. I have been working in my own practice since then. And that's been more than 40 years now. And what is really important is just that attuning to the person who is in front of me, to be continually working on, that sounds a little bit heavy, but being aware of my lens of perception and how that's influenced by my belief systems, continually keeping that in the forefront of my consciousness, and really attuning to the person who is in front of me and how they can be supported to be truly themselves, to unfold all their potential, how I can support them in doing that.